when it comes to attempting to increase focus and reduce distraction, do you think about strategies through the lens of things that increase our ability to attend and decrease what we have to ignore? Is that the simple way to parse out different strategies or techniques?
Yeah, I mean, in the simplest way, if suppression is an active process and demands resources, one of the strategies is to just decrease the amount of distracting information around you, right? So that you could take more of your resources and apply it to focusing on what's relevant, which is, a very classic strategy of minimizing your workspace, of decreasing the number of browsers are open, trying to single task when you're doing something that really requires high level processing. So I would say that neuroscientific nugget is directly applicable to this idea of minimizing clutter, both external clutter and internal clutter in your mind.
Yeah, I think it was you who said that, just literally the option to check your phone is itself a distraction. In other words, because obviously it's playing on suppression in that respect. So no, that's exactly. Super interesting, super helpful and practical. And then just on the practical application note, what are the standard strategies, tools, tips that you recommend for folks to improve focus, reduce digital distraction, etc.?
Since we've been home, I've been working on that to make my workspace able to you can't really see what I'm seeing, but to have a nice clean palette to be able to focus on. So that's really important. And then remember, I also said that the clutter could happen inside as well as outside. So another challenge, you're worried about this or that. All of those are internal sources of distraction, and they will be unrelentless, and they will impair your productivity and your performance just as much as external clutter. So that's one thing. And there's no simple answer, right? It just takes practice, new habit formations and management, and maybe principally being aware of it, being able to be introspective about the sources of interference in your life. And it might not just be productivity that it's interfering with. It could be your relationships, your connection with people you care about. It could be interference with your sleep, and tons of different ways that interference has negative consequences. The next thing I would say is learning. Again, it's a little bit metacognitive. It's learning yourself and understanding that fatigue is not just something that's related to our physical bodies. Like, we've wrapped our heads around that really well. Even like Olympic athletes and professional athletes of all kind know that if they are going to continue to engage in their training or their performance activities at a high level, they need to have rest. They need to restore from fatigue so that they can re-engage at that level and maximize their learning and growth. It's the same thing for your brain. We will fatigue, and we require restorative periods in order to re-engage. It's much less research for the brain than it is for physical body and muscle type of fatigue. And so I'd say, for people that are trying to learn how to focus better, one of the practices that I engage in is to take a healthy and open look at what you do to restore and when you restore. And do you put in scheduled breaks in order to allow yourself to recover? Or do you think that's a sign of weakness, as I think a lot of people used to do, including a lot of employers, and think that you just have to push through 8 hours of uninterrupted activity, which is likely impossible? And then the next question is, what is the break that you're taking? Is it going on social media where you just go down these iterative sinkholes and it gets more and more complicated in order for you to get out? I would say that the breaks, from my impression, that are ideal are a little physical fitness. So if you could do a little walking, some push-ups, something to stimulate yourself physically, being able to shut down the noise, whether it's like meditation that allows you to have a solitary focus. So I think that those are two really good activities. Probably one of the best is to being able to engage in nature. Now, that might not be easy depending where people are located, but sometimes I'll even look at something as simple as a screensaver of nature photography to be able to just allow the mind to free itself from the top-down goals. So the message here is that if you want to restore your top-down attention, one effective way of of why nature is effective is to have a strong bottom-up influence that allows you to just take a journey.
If what you've heard on Flow Research Collective Radio has been helpful, please consider doing us a solid and leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening to this. Reviews help us connect to a wider audience so we can get these peak performance principles out to more people.